When I first started investing, I honestly thought I had it all figured out. I'd watched a few videos, read some articles, and I felt ready to just conquer the market. But the truth is, experience is often the best, and yeah, sometimes the harshest teacher. So today we're going to walk through three very real, kind of painful mistakes I made, and more importantly, what they taught me. Let's dive in.
Yep, this pretty much sums up where my head was at. Just a whole lot of confidence and not nearly enough wisdom. It's a really common feeling, right? And it's the perfect setup for learning things the hard way. That journey, from thinking I knew it all to actually learning something, well, that's what this is all about.
Okay, so mistake number one, this was a classic beginner's trap. I basically just outsourced my thinking. I put my trust and my money into somebody else's excitement without doing the one thing that really, truly mattered, my own homework. I'm sure this story sounds familiar to some of you. A friend super excited tells you about a sure thing. For me, it was this tech stock. He'd seen something on a forum about how they were developing something totally revolutionary. It sounded so convincing that I just jumped right in, putting a decent chunk of my savings into it based on, well, basically nothing but his confidence.
And boom, this is what happened just 3 months later. A painful 40% loss. Turns out the company wasn't nearly as solid as the hype suggested. And that so-called innovation, it never really happened. I totally panicked, sold everything, and just locked in that loss. I was so frustrated.
Okay, so here's the real takeaway, right? The impulse is to just trust the tip, to assume someone else knows better. But the lesson I learned, the really hard way, is to never, ever put your money into a business you can't explain in your own simple words. At the end of the day, it's your money on the line, and that responsibility is yours and yours alone. So my next big lesson didn't come from a bad tip. Nope. This one was all about my own emotions. I learned that managing your own fear when the market's going down is one of the hardest and honestly most important skills you can possibly develop as an investor. Oh man, I remember this feeling so clearly. The whole market hit a rough patch, and every single day I'd open my investment app just to see more and more red. And all that checking just made the anxiety worse. My stomach was just in knots, and any kind of rational long-term thought? Poof, gone, out the window. All I could think about was how to stop the bleeding. And this timeline, wow, it just perfectly shows you the cost of that fear. You can see it right here. I invested in January, pretty close to the peak. By March, the market dipped, and I sold everything telling myself I was limiting the damage. But then look what happened by May. The market came roaring back, and the very stocks I sold were now worth more than when I first bought them. By selling, I turned a temporary dip into a very real, permanent loss. And this is such a critical distinction to make. On one side, you have a paper loss. I mean, it's just numbers on a screen going down. It's not real, yet.